Hello my dear friends, and welcome back to another very exciting Star Wars video. It is I coming at you once again, your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg, and today it's my pleasure to share with you some huge information for Ahsoka Season 2. I know I've been bombarding you guys with the latest info, brand new leaks and rumours, but today we have something very official. In fact, this is as official as it gets. It's new details from one of the actors. Natasha Liu and Ivanna Sakhno, so Sabine Wren and Shin Hati, reunited at Star Fury Invasion in the UK. It was an incredible lineup of guests, and they were joined by some Andor stars too. But in terms of the Ahsoka actresses, both of their characters are stuck on Paridia. And in a panel when they were asked what we can expect from Season 2, Ivanna Sakhno spilled some beans about Shin. This is something we didn't previously know. She teases we're going to learn more about Shin Hati's past, so this could imply Shin flashbacks, now that she's no longer riding with Baylan. On a separate quest to answer whatever dangerous force is calling out to him, Baylan is going to spend a good chunk of this season alone, climbing the mountains of Paridia, trying to get to the Citadel, the shiny flashing beacon he saw in the distance while standing on the Statue of the Ones. We know from some concept art that Ahsoka and Sabine are going to be following him. Given her power in the Force and her conversations with Anakin, I think she's going to realise that Baylan is chasing something extremely harmful. As for Shin, she presumably is going to be with the bandits, at least for the time being. And now we know we're probably going to see flashbacks to her past. And this means we're going to see how Baylan and Shin met in the first place. Because remember guys, Baylan Skoll was a member of the Jedi Order that fell during Order 66, but Shin wasn't. Baylan came across her later on, and trained her as a Roken Jedi, similar to how Kanan trained Ezra. And it seems pretty obvious from Dave Filoni's writing that Shin and Ezra serve as narrative mirrors. But where Ezra was guided towards hope and compassion, Shin is being pulled towards power and aggression, especially now that she's all on her own. I strongly believe that Shin is going to go down one of two paths. Either she's going to go further towards the dark, or she's going to side with Ahsoka and Sabine and turn to the light. Ahsoka gave her the option in the first season, but she declined. She ran away. But if the opportunity presents itself again, maybe by the end of Season 2, Shin might become a Jedi. But what Ivanna said is so interesting to me because we've been so focused on where Shin is going that we've kind of forgotten the importance of her past, how she grew up, where she grew up, who she was before Baylan, and in a way, how Baylan shaped different parts of her pre-existing personality. All of that is going to be very important to where she's going, because if Ahsoka can offer her something that is more beneficial to her, if the life of a bandit isn't working out, and if she's resisting the dark, then maybe by the end, she'll be a Force-sensitive hero. But what we know for certain is that Shin doesn't know much about the Jedi Order of old. She wasn't there. Everything she knows is from stories that Baylan told her. She was trained in the world without the same rules and restrictions that the Order of old liked to uphold, the same rules that Baylan walked away from. So in terms of her Force philosophy and everything she's learnt, she's kind of like a dark Jedi, and Star Wars fans have had plenty of theories about her origins. Some say she's literally the daughter of Baylan, while others say that she was just a Force-sensitive citizen, maybe a slave, who Baylan stumbled across as a mercenary. And similar to Jod's story from Skeleton Crew, Shin's master recognized her potential, realized that she had the Force, and trained her to become a warrior. But I do think an important question to ask is, what is the narrative purpose of these flashbacks? Does Shin have a greater importance in the way Baylan does? This could in theory feed into the idea that Shin is needed for an Abeloth sacrifice, or despite being separated, are their paths going to cross again? Is there going to be a final showdown between the two? Ivanna did recently mention working alongside Rory McCann, who replaced Ray Stevenson, but she might have just meant filming on the same day, seeing his work ethic, and talking to him off set. We don't know for certain if they're sharing any scenes. But Shin's journey is certainly one I'm looking forward to. And here's the incredible thing, getting Shin flashbacks also means Baylan flashbacks, because he's the one who found her and raised her. So I think they're going to do something similar to what they did in Andor Season 2, with Luthen and Claire flashbacks in Episode 10. Maybe Dave Filoni chose to take a page out of Tony Gilroy's playbook. And I suppose the question is, are they going to get separate actors to play the younger version of these characters? Or are they just going to give Ivanna Sakhno a different haircut, make her look a bit younger, and shave Rory McCann's beard? But if we do see a younger version of Baylan, given Dave Filoni's going all out, we've heard about flashbacks to Mortis, more cameos, we might see another Order 66 flashback, and how Baylan survived. And let's talk about that for a minute, because across Season 1, Dave Filoni already told us quite a bit about Baylan's identity. In Baylan's first fight against Ahsoka Tano, he mentioned he knew Anakin, and that few lived to see what he'd become. He was talking about Darth Vader. And it could suggest that maybe he was one of the first to learn that Anakin turned to the dark side. Now, he might not have known that back in 19 BBY. It'd be awesome if he did, but to be fair, at this point in the timeline during Ahsoka Season 1, the Battle of Endor is gone, Luke Skywalker is the hero of the galaxy, and the story is well known. But given Baylan was at the Jedi Temple at the same time as Anakin, probably heard all the stories about the Chosen One, he might have been closer to Anakin than we think. And we also know he was a Jedi general back in the day. He served in the Clone Wars and watched the Order burn to the ground. But a massive Baylan question I want them to answer in Season 2 is, was Baylan a literal survivor of the Great Jedi Purge? Did he literally fight his clone commanders after Palpatine executed Order 66? Or had he left the Order by then and learnt about it secondhand? I have seen some pretty fascinating theories about who he was back in the day. I want to take you through a couple of my personal favourites. The first one is that he was Plo Koon's Padawan. This one always gets me because it's well established Dave Filoni loves Plo. It's his favourite Jedi. They literally had a Plo Koon stand-in for the Luke reveal in Mando Season 2, so that the secret didn't get out. So the theory goes like this. As we see in Revenge of the Sith, Plo Koon died on K-2 Moidia during the Great Jedi Purge. He was shot down in his fighter by a clone pilot. And did you know K-2 Moidia appears in the star map in the Ahsoka credits? Some fans think this means that Baylan watched his master be shot down. The only problem with this theory is that Baylan would have been too old to be a Padawan, so maybe he was Plo's apprentice before Order 66. But then again, Obi-Wan Kenobi wasn't knighted until 25, so they could play it fast and loose with the age. It is a cool theory nonetheless. Another theory states that Baylan left the Jedi Order because he was Pong Krell's apprentice, and after seeing what that diabolical Jedi did on Umbara, he walked away, disillusioned. It's why he tells Shin he liked the idea of the Jedi, but not in practice. It's not that he was driven by hatred, but by the conviction that the Jedi were destined to fall, and the cycle of domination, be it Republic or Empire, Sith or Jedi, was destined to repeat itself. And that's why he's seeking a power greater than all of that. He's searching for the beginning. This is related in some way to the Mortis gods. Then there's a theory which I put across a year ago, that Baylan left the Jedi Order after the way they treated Sifo Dyas and didn't take his prophecy seriously. And finally, my friends, maybe Baylan avoided Order 66 by the skin of his teeth. Maybe he was sent on a lone mission, maybe even to retrieve a Force-sensitive youngling to bring to the temple on Coruscant. This might have been an infant Shin, and when the time came to return, he got Obi-Wan's transmission to not return to the temple, and so that's how we learnt about Order 66. Share your thoughts on all of this in the comments down below, my dear friends. Are you hyped? Because I certainly am. If you enjoyed this one, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, and may the Force be with you, always.